Hello and welcome to Mirror Talk. We have moments where we just have to pause. Just pause and take a break and reflect on life. Remember, you are strong, you are enough, you are capable, you are blessed, and you are loved. Your moment of greatness starts now. It is a privilege and honor to be right here and right now with an old schoolmate and a very inspiring, diligent, and beautiful friend. She's currently an associate product manager intern at Google and a master's student at Dartmouth College. How have you been, Fisayo?
Hi, Toby. Thank you so much for having me on your show. This is really a cool time to catch up with you. The last time I actually saw you was years ago, in secondary school. So yeah, super nice catching up with you and chatting with you. Looking forward to this conversation. So
same right here. I'm so happy to see you right again. And once again, I'll just dive right into it. You moved from Nigeria to the US after successfully completing your bachelor degree and gathering some work experience. How has that transition been like to you?
Okay, so for me to be able to for this story to make perfect sense, I'll start from the beginning. So when I decided when I was going to make a choice about what I wanted to study in uni, I decided to go for engineering. It's actually a more complicated story, but let's just leave it at this. I decided to study engineering because I wanted to have options after school. And interestingly, while I was in my undergrad, I had about 4 internships, and they were mostly core engineering. So electrical engineering, electronics, telecoms, power, and interestingly, the level of satisfaction, or I don't know, that you would feel out all of this, oh yeah, I finally did this and this is eventually what I wanted to do, wasn't what I had after my undergrad. So I started looking for other options, to be honest. I was like, okay, let me try consulting or let me try tech. For consulting, I started applying to McKinsey and the rest of it. But interestingly, about 3 months after I finished undergrad, I got this offer at Softcom. Softcom is an IT company in Lagos, and I remember saying to myself that I didn't want to do anything that had to do with routine, which is why I didn't want to go for entry-level engineering roles, because every entry-level engineering role required routine work, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing engineering. So that was actually the reason why I was looking for other options, and I eventually decided to take the offer. And I remember in my interview telling them that, you know what, I hate routines. I don't want to have to do the same thing day in, day out. And my first role was technical support. And technical support was you doing the same thing day in, day out. And I'm like, wait, is this a setup? That was the first question I had to ask. But one thing that in itself helped me do was I decided to stay there, because I felt this was different, and obviously it wasn't core engineering. I didn't want to do core engineering, and this wasn't core engineering. So I was you know what, I'm going to try it out and I'm just going to go for it. And that experience in itself was actually what shaped this journey that I'm on right now. So when I started working with customers, end users, basically my job description was to be able to translate customer problems into tickets and escalate that to engineering and figure out ways to help users get onboarded on the product we're working on. And for me, that experience in itself really opened me up to how users actually interact with technology, why users act the way they do, why they think the way they do. And many times you'd realize that, or I realized that I was in this bubble, right? This tech bubble where I knew how things worked. Nobody really needed to walk me through products or whatever. But interestingly, the everyday user of technology, the malam on the street or the woman that sells oranges on the street, probably doesn't have the same experience as I do. Right. And it's important for us, especially people for us in this bubble that we are in, to be able to connect with those kinds of people. Right. Especially when we're innovating for them. Right. The approach and the way we actually build for them should actually be more centric, user centric. And all of these learnings, right, all of these things I was able to pick up from this role really helped shape my understanding of how to build user-centered products. And interestingly, after 6 months at this role, it was a graduate internship role, and about 6 months into the role, there was this restructuring that happened at the company, and the CEO like recommended me for the product management role, which was one of the new roles that was introduced at the company at the time. And that was actually how I found myself in product management. And for me, that journey, like that experience in itself was basically me figuring things out as I went. So it was like, go figure things out. I really had like zero experience in product management. I had zero experience like in all of that, in that aspect, basically in that field. But one thing that was very motivating for me was the fact that I was actually solving people's problems. I think that's the same thing that drives me even up till now. The fact that like I'm currently at Google, right, working on like very impactful stuff. The fact that I'm actually working on something that I feel like, not that I feel like that actually has an impact, right, is one thing that really motivates me in all of this. Is, trust me, product management is very, like, people ask me a lot of questions about it, but I'm like, trust me, it's like one of the most stressful jobs ever, because you dream you dream about your product, you wake up thinking about your product every single time of the day, right? But yeah, the fulfillment is just seeing that this actually like provides value, gives value to like the end user. So that's what motivates me, and that's actually like some abridged version of my journey to this place, like to where I am right now.
Yes, and this is really amazing. As in, from listening to what you're saying right now, I got this message from you that you're always trying to solve other people's problem, trying to make an impact on other people's life through tech, for example, making something that is actually very, very useful to other people. And you, from your story so far, it's like you want to you just dive into something and figure it out. Like you don't scare yourself from not having an idea about it, but you just try it out and see how it goes.
Yeah, and this was actually a process in itself, to be honest. It was a process because at some point, like, things will seep into your mind. You'll be like, am I really sure I can do this? Like, my first project literally was me facing like government officials, like making a presentation, talking. And I'm like, these people are all like my father's age. Like, how am I going to do this, right? All those thoughts, of course, were there. But then one thing that I think has stood with me is the fact that like, I should just like, I feel like once I actually immerse myself in something and like just take the first step, I feel like things will start, like I'll just figure it out as I go. So for me, I'm like, you don't have to have everything figured out up front, right? Just take a step and you figure it out as you go.
Yes. Oh, that's very powerful. You just take a step at a time and you figure it as you go. Wow, that is powerful. As in, if I just end this podcast right now, that's what I'm taking on with me. Take a step and figure it out as you go. Wow. So, we have not seen each other in like ages. Like, I think we were like 18 or 19 years old last time we saw each other physically.
You were in UI like till like 200 level or 100 level, right?
To the end of 100 level.
Yeah, 100 level. Yeah. Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
That was a really, really long time ago. Yeah.
So how was this journey of, adulting be like to you? Now, this is like, that's been ages ago. I mean, this journey of adulting and becoming mature.
Adulting is a scam. Like, nobody warned me. I literally still, like, right now I have a report to turn in by Monday, and in my head I'm like, I know what I'm supposed to write, but I just need strength. And also coupled with the fact that like we're all locked down like in our houses, I have to make my own food and all of that, and I'm like, I have this week is supposed to be my wash day, like hair wash day. I have to make food for the week. I have to complete this report. I have to, like, I'm like, wait. I didn't sign up for this. Like, why am I even here in the first place? Like, why do I have to do all of these things? When I was 5, all I was responsible for, all I needed to like do was complete my assignment. Once I'm done my assignment, that was my only life problem then. So exactly. Why do I have all of these things? But yeah, to be honest, I would say for me, it has just been, like I said earlier, taking a step at a time and figuring things out as I go. When I finished from undergrad, like I'm just going to tell that story a bit again. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Right. But I knew the things I didn't want to do. I knew I didn't want to go for like entry-level engineering roles. I didn't want to do engineering. But one thing that stood out for me was I would have ideas in my head, right? And sometimes I would talk to people about it. Sometimes it's just in my head, me having conversations with myself, right? But one thing I would say to myself is, how would you know, like, if you don't try? Like, how would you know if something would work or not work if you don't try? So it was more of, my very first job, it was like, if I don't do this thing, how would I know if I'm even really interested in tech, for example? If I don't apply to Dartmouth, for example, how would I know if I was going to get in or not? So it was more like that has been like the thoughts that I have in my head, like as I take all of these decisions, as I make all of these decisions and I take these steps, I'm like, if I don't try, how would I know if it will work or not? And something that I think also stands out for me, that I've realized like in this journey of my life is many times doubt will come, right? Doubts will come in the how will I put it now? It will come in the form of me just talking down on the fact that, oh, are you really sure that you want to do this? Or are you really sure that you can do this? And sometimes it comes in the form of me talking to someone. The person is like, especially all those, like, especially uncles, right? Or aunties and like extend people that you talk to that are older than you, that have seen life and have done life, right? And you talk to them and tell them, this is what I'm thinking about, right? And then they go, someone has tried it before. You know, are you sure that this, like, they will give you, and of course, they are speaking from their own experience, right? They're speaking from the fact that, like, they have done this before, they have seen it before, right? And they've seen possible outcomes. And many times it's out of love, right? It's out of love of the fact that, like, they don't want you to make mistakes, or they want you to be careful about the kind of decisions you make. But one thing I've done is, or one thing that I go with is, how would I know, right? How would we know if Fisayo, like, I'm Fisayo, right? I'm not that person. Whatever experience anybody has, right, relating to something or a particular decision is, to a large extent, is based on, like, it's based on them, right? It's based on, and it's based on like a couple more factors that I'm not even aware of, or anybody's not even aware of, right? And the mere fact that, like, I am me, how would I know if I do something and, like, it's not going to work? Obviously, one thing that I keep saying to myself is, whoever's experience, I don't care whatever experience anybody has about something, maybe applying to somewhere or doing something. I'm like, that person's experience is not mine, right? And I'm just going to do I'm just going to do it myself and tell myself that, oh, I actually at least made an attempt at this, right? I took that shot. I took this, like, I made this step, or I took this step, I made this decision. If it doesn't work, then I don't know. Then I would say to myself that at least I tried, right? And that is basically how I've, like, been going through life. Sometimes people see it as, oh, so you're just stubborn and you have, like, coconut head, that kind of thing, right? People say some things to me, and after a while, I started doing things without, like, literally, like, asking for people's opinions, especially when I kind of know what the outcome is going to be. For example, when I made the decision to come to the US for my master's degree, obviously I needed funds to come here. Like, there were options for me to take a loan or do this or do that, and they're like, Nigerians now, it was not JGBC, all of those things, right? You cannot be. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm only this age, right? I'm just in my early 20s. If I don't explore these things, if I don't take these decisions, how would I know if it's going to work or not, right? And I just go for it, to be honest. If anybody had told me that, in fact, when I applied to Dartmouth, I didn't know Dartmouth was an Ivy League school. Like, when I actually literally first saw the program, it was the program that actually drew me. So I was looking for engineering management, right? Because I wanted to go deeper into, like, management, because I've been working as a PM for about 2 years, and I wanted to add, like, the business side, like, business skills to my technical background. And I started looking for engineering management or technical project management kind of courses, and I found this engineering management course, and I was like, yeah, I'll go for it. It looks pretty good. And then next thing I saw that it was an Ivy League, and I'm like, okay, it's an Ivy League, cool stuff, but, like, how would I know if I'm going to get, like, I had other options, obviously. I had, like, 5 other options that I applied to. But I decided to still go for it. Like, I didn't feel like it was as daunting as people would think. So people would say, oh, why did you even apply to Dartmouth in the first place? Didn't you think that this and that? And Toby, I know you know this, right? It wasn't as if I was, like, top 3 students in, like, secondary school or even my undergrad, right, that would say that, like, I'm aiming for these things. But I just said that, like, the same thing I've been saying since morning is, how would I know if I don't try?
Exactly.
So that's basically what I keep telling myself, and I need to, like, make all of these decisions. I'm like, how would I know if I don't try? So
Wow.
I really love that. I mean, not limiting yourself to what you think you are at the current moment, but just taking that step of faith, taking that, that leap of faith, and you see how things turn out for you, or how things work out for you. And that's really working out for you very, very, very well. Like,
yeah, so far,
it's
so
really
far,
working out
so
well for
good.
you.
I believe.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but the truth is something on the other hand, something that like maybe might not be obvious is the fact that like there are also dark moments. There are moments where you're like, there are moments of uncertainty when you make this decision and you're like, you really don't know what the outcome is going to be, or you're already in that moment. Like, actually, when I feel like when we're in the moment, it's hard for us to appreciate how far we've come or the opportunity that we have. Many times we just look at the fact that, oh my God, this is so daunting. This is so like crazy. I don't even know why I'm here. Why did I even do this in the first place? But one thing that I also hold on to is the fact that things make more sense, right? In hindsight, like when you look back and you reflect back and you see your journey, or you reflect back on your journey, you realize, oh, this is why this actually happened, so that this could happen right now, right? So many times I just tell myself when I'm in the moment and I'm like, I really don't know what next. Like in those moments of uncertainty or things are like when things are not clear, I'm like, I'm sure whatever is going to be the outcome of this particular season or this particular thing that I'm going through, right, is going to is like, it's just adding up together, like for my good. Like, I'm a Christian and I would say that like everything still works out for my good, whether positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that negative is relative, right? Sometimes those negative experiences are actually things that would push us towards where we're supposed to be, right? So
yes. Wow. Oh, this is really good. I've learned, a lot from you already. I've learned a lot from you. And one key point I've gotten from this is it's better for one to, define one's path. Yes, it's possible you have dark moments. It's possible you have, you fall into a trap or whatever. But once you define that path for yourself and you put into God's hands, for example, then you are sure that, yes, this is my decision. This is the path. This is journey that I have designed for myself. That's really good. That's really good. I like that. So now you are currently an intern. How has it been like, working at a very big, tech company as an associate product manager? How has that been like to you or for you? Is it challenging? How is the experience like?
But to be honest, like, I think the mere fact that this is even a very different internship in its own, like, ordinarily, I should be in California right now, but I'm currently in New Hampshire, back in school, working from home, working remotely, and that comes with its own challenges. But first thing is, I'm actually grateful for the opportunity. Grateful for the opportunity in the fact, like in the sense that there were people who like had their offers rescinded, not at Google, but like in other places. I had classmates who got offers for, like, it was a race basically. It was like a rat race. Immediately we got here, like into the program, they're like, you have a 3 month internship rather, that you have to complete, which is like your capstone. So you need to start applying now. And that was last year when I came to the US, right? So it was literally everybody trying to like get something, right? Get an offer and like just have that settled. And I'm grateful for this opportunity because, I would say it's an opportunity because there are people who had offers which were rescinded, like I said, and the mere fact that like this was still able to continue despite this whole situation, right? Companies have been closing down. People have been laying off staff, right, because of the whole situation. And I still have this opportunity to still do this internship. So it's something I'm grateful for. I would say that like it has been different. It has been different from what I was hoping to get. So when I got this offer, I got the offer in December, right? And COVID wasn't this crazy. Like the world wasn't this crazy then. And I was really looking forward to like an internship or a summer where like I'll get to meet people and I'll be there, like enjoying summer and also trying to like get work done and all of that. But obviously that isn't what happened, right? And I've been having to like connect with people remotely, and that has been challenging. Like, to be very honest, that's been really challenging. I've never had issues with my eyes before, but right now I have to start wearing these like anti-glare glasses because like my screen time has gone up. I've had to just keep staring at my laptop. Like every meeting, literally, like something that could have been a coffee chat has to be like a video.
Through the laptop,
yeah, exactly. So all of those things have been challenging, right? But I think for me, the mere fact that like I'm able to work and I'm still able to get things done regardless. So I'm grateful for technology, right? I'm grateful for the opportunity. But of course, there have been days when I'm like, I'm not even really sure that this is like making sense right now. There are days when I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, oh my God, like, do I even feel like I'm worthy to be here? Like, I'm using that worthy term in this, how will I put it now? I'm trying to be careful about like the words I'm using. But those are harsh questions I've asked myself, to be honest, because there are days when I'm like, doubts will come, like, and I'm like, this imposter syndrome will seep in, and I'm like, oh my God, people will realize the fraud I am, and all of those things. But one thing that like has stuck with me, and basically from talking to people, and they have a very strong black community, like Black Googlers network, and they talk about the fact, like, these are things that even people that have gone years ahead of me, that are 16 years into the work, actually like still deal with, right? People that have years of experience still deal with this thing called imposter syndrome. And to be honest, I don't think it completely goes, but it's something that like you have to keep dealing with every day, right? And the way I deal with it, for example, for me is I have scriptures that like I put in front of me. Like I have post-it notes on my table, right? That I keep reminding myself that, number one, I'm worthy to be here, right? It wasn't a mistake. Like me being here wasn't a mistake. The same reason why, or the same qualifications people had, like, to be here is the same thing I have, right? And the first thing is just telling myself that, I'm worthy to be here. And also speaking words to myself. Something I do that has worked for me over the years is just confessing, right? Confessing God's word over my life, telling myself that this is who I am, right? And it might not look like it, right? Of course, there's the hard work that comes with it. You can't just be here confessing words and like be lying down on your bed and be sleeping hours, right? You also have to get the work done. But just reminding myself that, yes, I'm worthy to be here, and this is what God says about me, and this is what I believe that I am, and this is what I see my future to be, right? It's a constant process. I don't think there's a simple method towards, like, if you have a headache, for example, take painkillers and like to go in a couple of minutes. I don't think it works that way. But then for me, these things are actually things that work for me. So I keep telling myself that I'm worthy to be here, and I keep speaking these words over myself as well. And
yeah. Wow, that's really good. You know, this imposter syndrome is something that affects. I was reading about it like of recent. 70% of people, they just feel like they don't belong to the friends around them, to the community around them, or they don't deserve all they've accomplished. And as in you've explained that already, how you deal with it and how you try to avoid this kind of syndrome, or battle with it every day, basically. And I know there are a lot of people out there that maybe it could be useful to if you have some other tricks or tips or things.
There's no trick here.
From this,
there's no trick here, but like another thing that I think helps me as well is just reflecting, right? Times when I just take out time to sit and reflect. I won't say it's a journal, because I write things there. I'm not as consistent in my journal as some people, like, as you think that journaling is. I know that like the idea of journaling that a lot of people have is writing something, dear diary, every night or every morning kind of thing. But in days when I actually reflect and I sit down and I reflect back on my life, I actually write down things, and just going back to like reading up like all of these things that I've written, and reading up like or just reflecting on my experiences, right? And seeing how like remembering how like difficult times came, like hit me, and I was still able to like move past those things, right? And I was still able to like make progress, like move past it. Despite all of those things, I was still able to like do things and move forward. And things that also like help me in those moments when these kind of thoughts come. So I'm like, fam, you went to UI and you studied electrical engineering and you still you did well, like you still like did this, right? You went to Softcom, you had like very daunting projects. I literally was at one point, I was seriously overwhelmed with like so many things, right? And I was super immersed in work. but I was still able to like make an impact. I was still able to like show that I was still able to produce results basically. And this was like, this wasn't someone else. This was still the same person. Like this was still me, right? And just reflecting and appreciating where you've come from, appreciating where you are, and like writing, documenting all of these things, actually ways to like that have helped me like in overcoming this thing, right? Just reflecting and going back to like read up my notes. And to be honest, like I said, things make more sense in hindsight. Like when you look back and you reflect and realize, oh, I've actually come a long way, right? No matter how little it is, like just appreciating your wins. Things as simple as, I completed this task, right? I wanted to do this. Like I set out to do this, and this today. Even though I wasn't able to do all 5 things, I did 3 out of 5, right? There are people that are battling a lot of things, and just appreciating the fact that like you even have life, right? You have the means, you have the ability to do what you need to do every day, right? It's even a blessing in itself. And just appreciating those wins, right? And not being too hard on yourself. Of course, there are times when you have to like ginger yourself. You're like, you need to do all of these things, right? But then also understanding that your body, like, because we're in this bodily form, right, we have limitations, right? There are times when your body actually needs rest, right? And acknowledging the fact that, I actually need to rest right now. Acknowledging the fact that, I can do all these things. Of course, the Bible says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But then you also have to realize that there has to be a balance, right? There has to be a balance between work, right? And also rest. And this is something I've even had to fight myself with. Like, with the times when I'm choosing work over sleep, I'm choosing work over food. The times when I would not eat, and I'll be like, I have to get all of these things done. And I'm like, wait, if you break down tomorrow, or if you break down today, they will get someone, like, it will even be hard. They will get someone that will replace you and do the job, right? So just understanding that you also need to pace yourself. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself, right? And also just acknowledging where you are, and your wins and accomplishments. Also talking to friends help. So I have like I can count the number of friends I have with like my 2 hands. I don't have like so many friends, but then just also being able to like share with people. For me, I think I've changed. I used to be like an extreme introvert, right? I'll hardly see anything that is happening to me. Like people hardly know what is going on in my life, right? But I've realized that just being able to talk to someone, like open your mouth and talk to someone, right? And you would realize that, number one, this thing that you feel like is just you, right? It's not just you. People are actually going through the same, right? And being able to share experiences with people, being able to hear like a flip side of like whatever thing you're looking at, whatever problem you're trying to address, like there's always a different side to things, right? And you would only be able to see or appreciate those things if you're talking to other people. So sometimes like those conversations actually help. Having these kind of conversations with people where you are talking about issues, life issues in general. Literally, we've not done this before. Like we've not done like I've never done adulting before, right? This is our only chance, only shot at life, right?
Of course.
And just also reading books, listening to podcasts, like hearing people talk about how they've been able to like go through. Like you would see successful people today, and you'd be like, it was probably privilege. Of course, privilege comes in for some people. Like people have privilege. People had like come from but then there were people who actually like went through even worse things than you did, right? And still came out well. So being able to hear people's experiences, right? And just for me, sometimes I tell myself, now I'm going to talk about the God factor, right? Which is where I'm going right now. I ask myself, if I didn't have God, right? How would what would life look like to me? Because, and I think, I can't remember who I was talking to this about. Like, I remember I was talking to a friend about this, and then they were like, there's this thing called the God, like, space. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how she said it. I'm not saying it verbatim, but then there's this gap, right? There's in our life that only God can fill. So no matter how much, I don't know, wealth you have, accomplishments you have, if that gap, like that's why you would see very accomplished rich people like still commit suicide, right? Still kill themselves, right? Because that gap, there's nothing in this world that can fill it, right? And sometimes I just ask myself, like, if I didn't have God, right, and all of these things came crashing, like sometimes that's the only bleak of light that I can hold on to, right? When things seem like, oh my God, like,
Crumbling down.
yeah, like there's no way out of this. Like, this situation is like, and then I'm just like, God, it's only you I have right now. There are times when I have these kind of conversations with God. Like right now, literally what I'm doing with you, I do it in my room and I'm just talking. I'm like, see, God, I don't even know what is going on right now. Like, I literally, and I'm like, you brought me here. Like, let's just make that clear, because I know that I didn't make this decision without you, right? And only you can do this, right? And I just hold on to that. And yeah, like I said, looking back on things, I'm just like, that could only have been God. There are times when you think to yourself that, oh yeah, you were smart, you did this, it's because you're smart, it's because you're this.
Yeah.
But literally, I'm like, if you ask me, I will tell you that it's just God.
Yes. Wow. I mean, it helps to always, reflect on one's journey in life, and also appreciate every blessing, every mistake, every disappointment that one has experienced, and also holding on to God like the strong pillar of our faith. Like, God, if you don't help me, nothing, I don't know what's going to happen to me, kind of thing. Like, if you don't come to my rescue, well, I don't know what will happen to me. Just surrendering onto God like that freely also helps. And
I have this quote that says that I actually always paste everywhere, like everywhere I live. So I have like this couple of things I paste on my wall. I say 0% me, 100% God. And what that means is 0% me, 100% God means it's never about me. Even like all of these things, I do these things, I make like the effort and everything, right? But at the end of the day, it's really not about me, right? Yes. If at any time in my life I think that, oh, everything I've accomplished is like through my power, like I really don't want to reach that place where I'm saying that, yeah, I did this by myself or whatever. So I can't have these kind of conversations without saying it's 0% me, 100% God, to be honest.
Wow. And that helps one to keep ease yourself in check, for example, just to ensure that, yes, no matter what I've done or what I've achieved, it's still God. It's without him, I won't have achieved that.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are you've been giving us tips on you're talking about you're talking about different issues with yourself, having conversations with yourself. What are other things that you talk to yourself about, or things, how you motivate yourself? What do you stand in front of the mirror and like this podcast, Mirror Talk, and talk to yourself about different conversations or different topics?
I just remember that it's actually Mirror Talk. Yeah, I actually do a lot of that. I'm here currently in the US, and like I don't have like my closest friends close to me or like my family here. I have family here, but I mean like right now where I am in school, right? And even though we're thankful for technology and the fact that like you can call anybody, but then there are times when I just sit in my room and I'm telling myself, you know what, fam? Like, I call myself fam. This is how I talk. This is how I literally talk to myself. I'm like, you know what, fam? I really don't know what is next. So if you ask me, Fisayo, so what do you plan on doing next year? Like, what does after grad school look like? And I'm like, I really don't know what it looks like, to be honest. I really don't know what the next thing is going to be. And that might be surprising, right? Because you would think that, you actually have all your life together. Like, you have, seems like you
everything set out already.
Exactly,
planned,
exactly. And this was the same position where I was after undergrad, right? I was like, I really don't know what it's going to be. But literally, I'll just sit in my room and be like, God, I don't know what it's going to look like, but these are things that I'm actually thinking about. These are things I'm considering. And of course, I would juggle all of these options in my head. Sometimes none of them would work out, right? It's not as if everything works out every time. But then I just let my intentions be known to myself and to God, like at every point in time, and be like, this is what I want, right? But obviously, I want your perfect will to be done. I want your will to be done in my life. And there are times when, of course, I would go ahead and make logical decisions about, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to get to what I need to do, right? There are times, like, for example, if you're at work and then these are your responsibilities. You won't come and be asking God that, God, am I sure I want to do? Of course, you know that, like, logically, this is what you're meant to do at this particular point in time. Yeah, so there are times like that, but then there are also times when you need to make, like, life decisions, right? Like moving somewhere or taking a particular move or taking a particular step. And, of course, for me, there are times when I've made like those kind of decisions on my own based on like how I feel or what I think is good, right? And I just feel like at the end of the day, some of them didn't work out fine, right? But then one thing that I hold on to is the fact that like I'm not doing life alone, right? And in those moments, I'm like, see, at the end of the day, I just come back to tell God that, say, God, I really don't know what it is. But one thing it does is it would arrange, it's sovereign. It knows the end from the beginning, right? It knows the beginning from the end. So I'll be like, you know this full story. Sometimes I even tell him, I tell God, I'm like, God, you already know the end. So why not just tell me what it is? Because I'm tired, right? You already know what's up. Just tell me what it is. You're sovereign, right? You know the end from the beginning. You knew me before I was even born, right? You knew like my life story. Why? And so these are the kind of conversations I have sometimes. I don't have a perfect answer to that question that you have, but like this is just a glimpse into how like sometimes my head works. So sometimes I'm just like, I'm just going to be here like asking questions, and of course, it's not every time I hear this deep voice from everyone that says, my daughter, this is what you're supposed to do, right? Sometimes it could be from conversations, from having conversations with people, and then a light bulb moment just sparks up in my head, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually what I think I should do, right? And sometimes it's just things aligning together, right? I do something and then other things align, and I'm like, this is definitely God, right? Or this is definitely where I'm supposed to be, or what I'm supposed to be working in. So it could come in different forms, right? But then just understanding how, for me, I've come to understand how like God deals with me and how he works with me, right? And I've come to acknowledge that, this is what I'm supposed to do at this particular point in time, right? And this looks different for some people. They dream and then they have dreams, and like they're able to see in their dreams, and they're able to make decisions out of it. They're able to. So for some people, they have like the gift of like word of knowledge. They see you and they know exactly what it is, right? And different people have gifts that they exhibit, right? But this is from my own experience. This is how I've literally. I don't have. It's not a manual or whatever that I'm saying, right? I'm just saying from my own experience how I've been like doing life and doing this adulting thing.
Yes. Which is very, very relatable to me also, because sometimes I sit down and I ask myself these same questions, and you're 100% correct, as in I also have this belief that I should put God first, as you said, because I always just stand up like, oh my God, I don't know, I am here for a reason. What am I doing here? What is happening? What is the next step? And but as you said also, it just works out, and you just get that sign that everything just aligns, or someone tells you something and you be like, yes, that's exactly what I've been asking for, been thinking about, and that helps one. So apart from from the God factor and from friends, what are your other sources of motivations and inspiration? For example, what pushes you forward all the time?
What motivates me really is the fact that I know this might sound cliche, right? But one thing I keep telling myself is I really don't want to live life like just like that, right? At the core of like whatever decisions I make, I'm like, God, I truly want to make an impact. And I feel like it's not just something I tell myself, it's something that like I would say has been revealed to me, right? That this life that I'm living is not for myself, right? And in whatever thing I do, I try to ensure that like I'm aligning myself with that vision and that goal, right? At the back of my mind. It might not look like it right now, but at the end of the day, I want to be able to like make an impact in whatever way. And making an impact is relative, right? People make impacts in different ways. The Obamas, like, for example, Obama was like the president of the US, right? And that was the scale at which he was able to make an impact, right? In his own generation or in this generation, right? And we also have like, it could literally be you just doing what you're doing, like going to work every day, right? And working on a particular project that maybe has some level of impact, maybe on another organization, and the ripple effect, you might not have that full picture of what the ripple effect looks like, right? But then the little things we do every day actually add up towards something, right? And just ensuring, I think for me, what I always try to connect to is, am I working in purpose, right? And working in purpose, like I said, looks different for different people. You cannot compare your life with someone else's. You cannot say because this person is doing this thing, therefore I'm slacking, right? Or because this person is here, then I'm not doing as much. There will always be someone a step ahead of you, right? Of course, there's the richest person in the world, but like, interestingly, that changes like over time, right? There's always something ahead, there's always something behind, but then just appreciating where you are and appreciating your own journey, right? And holding on to the fact that like I'm here to fulfill a particular, like even twins, like people that were born at the same time, right, together would have like different lives like to live and different purposes to work towards. Of course, there might be exceptions to that, but like to a large extent, that's relatively how this life works, right? And just staying true to myself, right? Staying true to yourself and walking in that path, right? And ensuring that whatever thing you do, you're aligning with your purpose. Now, this might seem like some very deep talk. In my head, I'm like, good. I hope people are not thinking so deep, right? Deep stuff. But like at the end of the day, for me, that's actually like what keeps me, I don't know, in check, right? What keeps me in check, and that's something like I check myself against at every point in time. Am I working in that purpose, in that set plan or vision that I have? Like I said, I don't have the full picture. It's still a journey that I'm still on. I'm still I'm still on that journey of like discovering myself and discovering purpose as I move along. But I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had, because what they've done is they've opened doors for me to be able to see like a glimpse of what that looks like, right? And it helps me aspire. The fact that like I'm here right now makes me aspire to the fact that there's more, right? And just striving and knowing that there's more and working towards that more. That's basically it for me.
Wow, there's always more. There's always more to achieve. There's always more to do.
Yeah.
More mountains to climb, but more things to attain.
Yeah, but then of course, remember the balance. Remember that there's a balance as well. In your striving for more, right? You have to also listen to your body and know when to take rest, and know when to take a deep breath, and we know when to say "Selah," right? And know when to keep running, right? So.
Wow, I mean, Fisayo, I've learned so much from you already today. Like one thing is to discover yourself, know who you truly are. Then stay true to that self, straight true to yourself. Then, we all have a purpose on earth, right? So make sure that you are aligned to that purpose. Always be in purpose, and, just leave everything into the hand of God, like having that God factor in your life. And as you said beautifully well, surrounding yourself with, inspirational, motivational quotes like you have on your wall, you have everywhere.
Well, it's Bible scriptures. It's not inspirational quotes, but it could be inspirational quotes, but like things that like whatever keeps you motivated. Really, at the end of the day, is whatever keeps you motivated. Just ensure that you have those things and you're reflecting on those things.
And basically also having a backbone, or having a backbone structure like friends or family that keep you upright at all time. Fisayo, thank you so much for your time and sharing this word of knowledge as a word of knowledge with me. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
No, I really appreciate the fact that like you could even say, Fisayo, please come on my show or come on my podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I am eternally grateful for your time, your love, and contributions. You mean a lot to me. Thank you once again for listening and sharing with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this journey on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms in the description. Stay blessed.